We've seen all of the monocolored possible commanders, but now it's time to talk about some of the multicolor, and we'll get real spicy with this Avatar set. Find out today in today's Commander Grades. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys in Magic. This is Hunter and Riley. Say what up, Riley.
Yo, what's going on, people at home?
We are back doing another Commander Grades. That's right, taking a look at the multicolored legendaries from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is the set that you are probably the most excited for, or have been excited for this whole time, Riley. Huge Avatar fan, right?
I am. There's just so many things that I want to be able to build.
Yeah.
I need more money
And
probably more sleeves.
more sleeves, more money. That's how it works, right? You get a set that you really like and you just go after it. So I'm very excited to hear your grades on some of these cards. I'm glad you joined for this video because, oh boy, we got some spicy legends to talk about that could be your commanders. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, so you are staying up to date, because this is only going to be part one. There are a lot of legends. I think there was 112 total legends from this set. We're tracking along. But let's talk about this first one, Riley. This first one is Aang and Katara. It is 3, a green, a white, and a blue for a 5/5 legendary creature human avatar ally that says whenever Aang and Katara enter or attack, create X 1/1 white ally creature tokens, where X is the number of tapped artifacts and or creatures you control. It's very interesting that it wants things tapped before it enters or attacks.
I mean, considering that this still works with like the artifact lands.
True.
This is just one of those cards that like you go to combat and then in your second, then whenever all your little things are tapped down, then you drop this.
You're not wrong. I don't know. For 6 mana though, it's kind of hefty. This is from one of the scene boxes, so I don't think it's meant to be that powerful. We have seen powerful cards come out of scene boxes, but I think this is okay.
I don't know. I think for 6 mana on this one, I do agree with you that it being okay, but I could pretty reliably see this on ETB and on Swing making like 5 to 6 creatures, which for any kind of like go wide token strategy and you're in good colors for it, that can be pretty powerful.
Oh, absolutely. And Katara, if you throw the other Kataras in here, you're going to start waterbending and throw waterbending in here and tapping all those creatures you just made and getting quite the go wide strategy going very, very quickly. But I don't know, just for starting at 6 mana scares me. But
I can get that.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I'll kick us off. I think this one's just going to be average for me. This one's going to be a C.
I do like how snowbally this one is. I'm going to give this a B.
All right. Well, we're kicking off the video with our first grade. That is Aang and Katara, the average grade of a B. From one Aang to another, we've got Aang, a lot to learn. 2, hybrid green-white for a 3/2 legendary creature, human avatar ally. It says Aang has vigilance as long as there's a lesson card in your graveyard, and whenever another creature you control dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on Aang. The flavor text is terribly sad, but I guess you want your stuff to die.
Yeah, I don't think this is the color combination that I'm looking for an aristocrat style of deck, and I don't know if the payoff is good enough.
Yeah, I wish it said if another creature you control would die or put into exile. I think that would immediately make this card so much better, just because blink effects in Magic tend to lean towards white.
It would also work with airbending that way too.
Exactly. But it's when they die, specifically because the scene on the card is sad, right? I don't know. All of Aang's friends are dead, and he got grown up very quick. But yeah, I don't think there's a lot to say about a lot to learn. I think we can just go ahead and move on to the grades. What are you giving this one?
I think there's a lot to improve upon. I'm actually going to give this a D.
I am completely in agreement with you. I was going to lean towards D. This is a D for me too, which our average grade for this Aang, a lot to learn, is going to be a D. We've got a double-faced card, specifically another Aang. That's right, we're still talking Aang. Aang at the Crossroads, 2 green, white, blue for a 3/3 legendary creature human avatar ally. It's got flying, and when Aang enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card with mana value 4 or less from them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, transform Aang at the beginning of the next upkeep. Once transformed, does turn into Aang Destined Savior. It is a 4/4 legendary creature avatar ally that's got flying, and land creatures you control have vigilance. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you earthbend 2. As a reminder, when you earthbend, you target a land you control and it becomes a 0/0 with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. And if it were to die or be put in exile, you just return it straight to the battlefield tapped. Earthbend is powerful.
I don't know how to feel about this card because I feel like this almost wants to pull me in 2 different directions based off just like the front or the back half. Like the front half of the card doesn't care about land creatures at all. It really like I want to be abusing flicker and blink style shenanigans just to like make sure I am just plowing through my deck. And then when this thing flips, what do I do?
Yeah, it's very strange. I completely agree with you because like the front half, you're just looking for creatures. In the back half, you don't care about creatures anymore.
Yeah,
You just care about your lands at that point.
like I wish there were a way to be able to flip the second half of the card back to the face because or just not have the back half of the card.
Yeah. I don't know. It is I mean, you obviously you build the deck in both directions. You want to get a bunch of creatures out, and the creatures you are probably going to go and get is everything that says Earthbound, right? Or sorry, Earthbend. And there are plenty to choose from in this set. We've seen quite the amount of Earthbending cards, so go and grab as many as you can to kind of make that work. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this could be powerful. I just don't know if it's like a completely viable option.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. If we continue to get more like lands that have the ability to become creatures, then I could potentially be down for this. But as is right now, I don't think I like this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that your land creatures do have vigilance on the back because then your main phase 2, you can now just use them after you've attacked with mana. But I just, yeah, it's so strange. The ability on the front half, though, let's just talk about it real quick. It's powerful. Having free spells onto the field for free is good. So,
Yep.
I don't know. Strange card. Let's move on to the grades. We'll start with you.
Oh God, this is so difficult. I'm gonna go with a C on this. I really like the front half, and I really dislike the back half.
Yeah,
Like, I want to give this like a both a B and a maybe a D or potentially even an F. You know what? I'm sticking with a C.
I'm going to join you at the C range there, too. I do like both halves. I'm not saying I don't completely not like the back half. Both halves do seem powerful on their own, but together it's kind of weird. But yeah, Aang at the Crossroads gets the average grade. Have a seat. What's that? It's another Aang. It's Aang, Swift Savior. 1 white blue for a 2/3 legendary creature human avatar ally. It's got flash, it's got flying, and when it enters, you airbend up to 1 other target creature or spell. You also waterbend 8 to transform Aang. Once transformed, it does turn into Aang and La, Ocean's Fury. It is a 5/5 legendary creature avatar spirit ally with reach and trample, and whenever Aang and La attack, you put a +1/+1 counter on each tapped creature you control. This one you do like.
This one, very similarly to the last one, though, I feel like it's very disjointed between the face of the card and the back side of the card. Although I will say, I don't think either of these portions are quite as strong as the face of the back of the previous card. I do like both of these versions as they I feel like are a little bit more cohesive. Like you play an Azorius deck, you're probably gonna have creatures. Those creatures are going to be able to swing and probably want to get bigger over the course of the game. So like you have a little bit of control. You have your kind of like late game smash them to death option. I can see a lane for this.
I can see a lane too. I actually love the front half here. Just as in your command zone, if someone tries to cast a big spell, you flash this in and kind of stutter them by airbending that spell back to just exile, and they can play it. Hopefully not again right away for 2 mana if they spend all their mana to cast it. And then you just have your commander on the field once it's your turn already. So you can just water bend and transform and then swing your team and put a counter on everybody. I kind of like that. But
Yep.
yeah, I love that ability just to stutter someone. And of course, being in the command zone, this is obviously like I can see that you're going to stutter me if I play this big spell. But who's going to take it for the team?
There you go. It's not a counter spell. You'll still be able to do it later, but yeah, it will slow you down.
Yeah, this is like one of those things like counter target spell if an opponent can't pay 2, essentially, right? Because you're gonna have to pay that 2 extra if it does go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's okay. Let's move on to the grades. I'll start. Once again, I'm going C with this one.
I agree with you. This is a C for me as well.
Another
We need more disagreeing.
another Aang and another C. That's the average. Are you tired of Aangs? How about another? It's Avatar Aang. This one is red, green, white, blue for a 4/4 legendary creature human avatar ally. It's got flying and firebending too, and it says whenever you waterbend, earthbend, firebend, or airbend, you draw a card. And then if you've done all 4 this turn, you can transform Avatar Aang. Once transformed, it does turn into Aang, Master of Elements. It is a 6/6 legendary creature avatar ally with flying, and spells you cast cost white, blue, black, red, green, less to cast. That can reduce generic mana, which is absolutely insane. We'll get to that in a minute. And at the beginning of each upkeep, you may transform Aang, Master of Elements. If you do, you gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, put 4+1/+1 counters on him, and he deals 4 damage to each opponent. I don't... Okay. Preference, this is a 5-color commander because of the black mana pip on the backside of this card. Just a little reminder. So you're running a 5-color commander with all the bending you could throw into it as much as possible. If you can get this to flip, this card is insanely broken. And for that reason, I'm in love.
Yeah. Like looking let's talk about this. Just like, let's break this one up. Face of the card, just the front portion of the card. 4 mana for the 4/4 with flying and firebending too is pretty cute on its own until you start to realize that every time you attack with this creature, you're going to firebend, which will draw you a card. Yep. So this is just really solid as a card draw engine right there, and it's going to continue to reward you for any additional kind of bending. And then if you do flip this card,
I think you just win on the spot.
This thing is such a monstrosity. It's like you just mana's a construct. Like it's just like you don't nothing matters anymore.
Yeah, if this flips and you're playing against it, I think you just scoop, because that ability to have it cost generic less, if something is 1 blue mana and 4 additional, that's a free spell. If something is 1 red mana, 4 additional, free spell. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Nuts.
And the coolest thing with all of this too is that, like, not only does it say basically just drop your entire hand, but whenever you're bored of that and you just don't have a hand anymore because you've cast everything, you can choose just to transform this thing and he refills your hand.
Yeah. Not only just refilling your hand, you're gaining 4 life, you're putting 4 counters on it, you're going to do 4 damage to everybody on it. So why not? I don't know.
This is one of those cards where I feel like if you build this, you have to play, like, if you're trying to build this lower power, you have to play this in a deck where it's like, I have no other avatar cards.
You're not wrong. I feel like, yeah, immediately this is high powered, right? I don't know. The card's nuts. I think we can move on to the grades. It's an A for me.
This is an A.
Yeah. Very simple and to the point. Avatar Aang gets the average grade here of an A. Finally, no more Aangs. We've got Azula, Cunning, Usurper. It's 2 blue and 2 black for a 4/4 legendary creature human noble rogue. It has firebending of 2. And whenever Azula enters, target opponent exiles a non-token creature they control. Then they exile a non-land card from their graveyard. During your turn, you may cast cards exiled with Azula, and you may cast them as though they had flash, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. We went from such a good card to such a kind of meh card because this is the thing that you hate, Riley. It gives your opponent a choice.
Yeah, it gives your opponent a choice, and they will always choose the thing that is least impactful for you. So,
yep. And you're only getting 2 things, unless you flash this in Demir, which, as a reminder, it is not red. It is a reminder text of the 2 red mana, so it does not actually count as a color identity.
Yep. Firebending does not mean red.
Does not mean red. But it's not a good card. I don't like this card.
I don't either. It's expensive. It doesn't really do anything. I'm ready to move on.
Story-wise question for you real quick.
Yep.
Why is this card blue?
I mean, Azula is like incredibly smart. This is the part where she kind of like, well, she usurps in bossing Say and gains control over it. So like she takes over at Earth Kingdom City.
Okay. That's good enough for me. Move on to the grades. Start with you.
It's a D.
Yeah, I think this was a D for me. You know what? I'm actually going to go one lower. I think this is going to be an F for me. So, Azula, Cunning, Usurper gets the average grade of a D. Next up, Bumi Unleashed. 3 red, green for a 5/4 legendary creature, human, noble ally. It's got trample, and when Bumi enters, Earthbend 4. Whenever Bumi deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. Only land creatures can attack during that combat phase. I ran into this in our pre-release rally, and it wrecked me. But as a commander, I don't know.
Fun fact, I played against that exact same opponent, and it wrecked me too.
Is it a good commander?
I actually do like this quite a bit. I think just like on its own, 5 mana for a 5/4 on this, plus you're also kind of getting an additional 4/4 body. That's a lot of power for just that mana. And then the potential for you to kind of have that like Sword of Feast and Famine style of an effect of like, if I'm dealing damage to you, I'm going to be untapping all my lands, which kind of means that like I'm getting an advantage on resources. So I do think that's cool. I do think this is also one of those kinds of cards that like there are a lot of creatures out there, there are a lot of lands out there that have the ability to become creatures. And as we continue to just like have Magic Age, there's bound to be more of them. So I think that this is a card that like is really cool to begin with. It has some high potential. And I think this is one of those cards that will grow in power over time.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with you. I do feel like you're going to throw in every single Earthbend card you can into this just to make it really, really powerful. Also, any kind of lands that come to life in these colors, also probably thrown in this deck too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll agree. 5 mana for 2 bodies of a 5/4 and a 4/4, pretty solid. And that I mentioned this before. I do believe Earthbend is probably one of the more broken mechanics we've seen in Magic for a long time. Just the fact that if you do destroy all of these creatures that are Earthbent, I guess you could say, they're lands again. It's insane. So
yeah, they put in some safety valves.
Safety valves? That's one way to say it. Let's move on to the grades. We'll start with you.
I'm actually pretty high on Bumi. I'm going to give him a B.
You know what? I think you convinced me enough. I'll give Bumi a B as well, which Bumi Unleashed gets the average grade of a B. Moving on to Fire Lord Azula. It is 1 blue, black, red for a 4/4 legendary creature, human, noble. It's got firebending of 2, and whenever you cast a spell while Fire Lord Azula is attacking, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Copy spells effects are just so good.
Yeah, this also, in addition to that, generates mana for you to be able to use on those instants.
In combat, yeah, specifically. The fun fact about casting things in combat, right, is you can do it at the different phases of combat. Before blockers are declared, after damage is done, just any type of kind of combat, it still counts as copying the spell. Any kind of effect that say, hey, you can cast spells at flash speed, yep, everything is going to double. So this is kind of a kill on sight commander, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that this one is pretty powerful. I do think that this is one of those kinds of decks that has a very high ceiling. But I do also feel at the same time like this has the potential to be one of those commanders just that like the table will recognize as being a potential threat. And I'm not entirely sure that the deck holds up without her.
I mean, I assume you're going to put some spells in the copy that are pretty good. So
oh, no, definitely. And that's why I said like the ceiling of this deck is very, very high.
Oh no, flash speed, Torment of Hellfire. That would be crazy.
Wow. You're already copying that
There we
one.
go. Yeah, I don't know if I could say anything else except for like copy effects, once again, are very, very powerful. And just having this on the field is terrifying for anyone at the table. So let's move on to the grades. I think I'll kick us off. It's hard not to do it, but I'm going to give it an A.
I'm gonna give this one an A as well. And then on top of that, I just want to mention this may very well be my favorite artwork from the set. Just like the way that the blue flames stand out on this card. This is beautiful.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Fire Lord Azula gets the average grade of an A. From one to the next, we got another Fire Lord. It's Fire Lord Ozai. 3 and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature human noble. It says whenever Fire Lord Ozai attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you add an amount of red equal to the sacrificed creature's power. Until end of combat, you don't lose this mana as steps end. You can also pay 6 mana to exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards without paying its mana cost. This, I don't know, Riley. Something about this card screams you. Something about sacrificing your own stuff.
It is cool. I will say, however, though, with it being a timing restriction on this, and like the wording on that generation of mana until end of combat, you don't lose this mana as steps end. You lose that mana at end of combat.
You do, yes.
So like, I feel like this is one of those cards that like if you just like skim it, it sounds really solid. But essentially, this is like, hey, every now and again, I'm just going to be able to flip over cards, and hopefully, I can cast one that's decent.
Yeah, this is kind of like an Atali effect, right? You just cast your opponent's things off the top library. Granted, you only get to choose one of those things, but it's definitely reminiscent of that, I'd say.
Yeah. And like, it's cool that it's a repeatable effect, but I don't know, 6 mana is a lot. And I know that you're supposed to be able to just like firebend a ton with this. It doesn't actually say firebend on it, but that's kind of what it's doing. But you are cannibalizing your board in the process. So I don't know.
I think you're analyzing your board, but also I assume if you are running the Rakdos Aristocrats Edict effect strategy, you're probably draining your opponent at the same time as doing this effect and then just stealing their cards. So I think it's kind of cool. Let's move on to the grades. We'll start with you, the Rakdos player.
I'm gonna give this one a C. I just feel like this is kind of middle of the road for me.
Yeah, I think I'll join you as well. This one's gonna be a C for me too. Fire Lord Ozai gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to the last Fire Lord, it's Fire Lord Zuko. It is a red, white, and black for a 2/4 legendary creature, human noble ally. It's got Firebending X, where X is Fire Lord Zuko's power, and whenever you cast a spell from exile, and whenever a permanent you control enters from exile, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Prosper would go so well in this deck.
There's a lot of cards that go really well. One of my favorite creatures of all time, Norin the Wary, goes really well in this deck.
Yeah, I guess it does, huh?
Yeah, so the not only just like casting the spell, but just like having that permanent enter from exile, that means that you have the potential to just like kind of go insane with this. This is a this is a Cathar's Crusade from your commander, and then that firebending is going to continue to just increase over time. This I feel like this is a super snowbally kind of card that like you really need to make sure that the engine does not get established.
I completely agree with you. You throw Ishin into this too, and you get double firebending when it attacks. Seems pretty good. I don't
Yeah.
know. It seems real good on this. Yeah, I love the fact that this is another one of those kind of cast stuff from exile, play stuff from exile. You get to do cool things. You're gonna throw in all those kind of effects of not looting, but what's it called? It's called
Rummaging.
rummaging. Thank you very much. And yeah, you're just gonna rummage through your deck, play a bunch of spells, make your team huge, swing, make a lot of mana, cast a bunch of spells. You're right. It snowballs. Let's move on to the grades. I'm gonna give this one a B.
I'm actually pretty high on this one. I think if this does get the opportunity to stick around, it becomes really dangerous. I'm going to give this an A.
All right. Well, Fire Lord Zuko gets the average grade of an A. Moving on, we've got Guru Pathik, 2 hybrid green-blue, for a 2/4 legendary creature, human monk ally. It says, when Guru Pathik enters, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a lesson, saga, or shrine card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And whenever you cast a lesson, saga, or shrine spell, you put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control. We've got a shrine commander, question mark? In 2 colors? I don't know.
I don't think this works to helm a lesson deck, a saga deck, or a shrine deck. I just don't think that this is going to work. But I do think this is an excellent support piece in those style of decks.
I completely agree. Yeah, I know Steven runs a shrine deck with no creatures and I think it's only enchantments, and I think he might change up the plan here with some of these cards. Very good card for the 99 for that.
Yep.
But as a commander, I don't think it's that great. It's kind of limiting yourself to lessons, sagas, and shrines, which of course you could throw into the deck. But at what point does it not matter anymore? Because I don't think they could be as powerful with another commander at the helm.
Yeah, I think this is a limiting option. I'm ready to move to grades on this one.
Just kick us off.
It still does something, and I think it's kind of cool, so I'm going to give it a D.
And I'll join you there at the D as well, which Guru Pathik gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to Hama, the Bloodbender. It's 2 hybrid blue-black, hybrid blue-black, hybrid blue-black for a 3/3 legendary creature, human warlock, that says when it enters, target opponent mills 3 cards. Exile up to 1 non-creature, non-land card from that player's graveyard. For as long as you control Hama, you may cast the exiled card during your turn by waterbending X, rather than paying its mana cost, where X is its mana value. This is a no from me.
Yeah, we talked about how I don't like these kinds of effects already once this video. I'm not a fan of this. It's a one-time effect. There is such huge potential to do literally nothing with this.
It's, once again, a Dimir card. Kind of crazy. Both Dimir cards aren't that good. But I like how it says Waterbending X, which means you can tap your stuff down to help pay for it. But at the same time, if you didn't want to do that, you just paid the mana anyways. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a good card. It's 5 mana. This is an F for me.
Yeah, this is an F. I feel like this actually has the potential to do nothing.
Well, there we go. Hama, the Bloodbender, gets the average grade of an F. Here is a spirit. It's Hei Bai, I believe. Forest Guardian, 3 and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Bear Spirit. When Hei Bai enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a shrine card. You may put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. You can also pay a white, blue, a black, a red, and a green, and tap it. For each legendary enchantment you control, you create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token with this token can't block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. Seems good. Especially for a shrine deck.
It cannot whiff on its ETB, which I love that. And then the fact on top of that you just like are going to be building an army, it's pretty dope.
Now, do you run this over the other main shrine commander? That's a question, huh?
I don't know if like I'm gonna look at these and be like, hey, one is better than the other, but I will look at it and be like, they play a little bit differently, and I would probably still want to experiment around. So this could potentially open up like if you have a shrine deck, like if you were playing Go Shentai, you now potentially have a new direction for the deck just by swapping out the commander.
Definitely, and I think either one would go into each other. So yep. It's a very easy include. I do love shrines. I know I mentioned earlier that Steven does have a shrine deck. I've seen that shrine deck pop off. Shrines get incredibly annoying quickly. It's kind of like a sliverish kind of effect where they just keep multiplying and doing the effects bigger and bigger. But yeah, this is another one of those things that just is pretty cool. I'm here for it. And making a bunch of spirits that just can't be blocked. Not a lot of people are just running spirits, so you're probably going to get in for damage. But yeah, let's move on to the grades. Bradley, we'll start with you.
I'm going to give this one a B. It's still relatively limiting, but I think it's a really cool card.
I completely agree with you. It's a B from me too. Which means Hei Bai, Forest Guardian, gets the average grade of a B. We've got another Hei Bai. It's Spirit of Balance. It's 2 hybrid white black, For a 3/3 legendary creature bear spirit, whenever Hei Bai enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on Hei Bai, and when Hei Bai leaves the battlefield, put its counters on target creature you control. That's a cute effect.
It is cute. I like aristocrats decks. I think that this obviously, yeah, kind of feeds into strategy. I don't really like timing restrictions on my sacrifice clause, but it's cool that like the counters don't necessarily just like fizzle off this whenever it dies.
Yeah, I like that as well. Granted, if you're going to hit with a board wipe, you're just kind of screwed. But it's a cute effect. It's still a big dumb beater, as you would say. It's got no kind of evasion or stuff like that. You can still get chump blocked by a 1/1. This will turn into a 5/5 on ETB, which is nice. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think we can move to the grades. This one's a D for me.
I'm gonna give this a D too. However, if I were to ever build a like commander with the expectation that it was only allowed to be common or uncommon for a legendary creature, this would be a solid contender for me.
Hey, Popper EDH. There you go. There's your new commander. Hei Bai Spirit of Balance gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to somebody's favorite card. It's Iroh Grand Lotus 3 green, blue, red. For a 5/5 legendary creature, human noble ally. It's got firebending of 2. During your turn, each non-lesson instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. And also, during your turn, each lesson card in your graveyard has flashback of just 1 generic. Riley, I alluded to somebody's favorite card because you built this deck and brought it to our own personal table and wrecked us with it.
This is fun.
Yeah.
If you're looking to play Storm, this is a route to take.
Yeah, you made instants and sorceries cost 1 less. Well, turns out during your turn, each lesson that's only costing 1 is now free. Which, hey, that's a way to storm off.
Yeah, there were several turns where I cast more than 10 spells, which I feel bad. This is one of those commanders that like you're going to do a lot of things and your turns are probably going to be very long, and extra turn spells also work really well here. I don't know. It is a really powerful card. I just feel like oftentimes like because this doesn't have the ability to like really push extra damage through, it doesn't have trample or any other kind of like evasion, you are building your deck in a way where it's like I put in several cards where it was like target creature becomes unblockable. That way it was like at least now I can push damage.
Yeah.
And without those kinds of cards, I don't know what the path is.
I think the path was pretty clear when you played it, which was I'm going to take a bunch of extra turns and just kill you. Which you proceeded to do, which you won't admit. You'll say, I only took you down to 4. But yeah, you did. You killed me. You took 3 turns, and then you decided to take someone else's turn with the bloodbending.
Yeah, that was fun. I went 4 times in a row, 3 with my deck, 1 with somebody else.
Nuts game. But yeah, that's the thing, though, right? Whenever you give something flashback, anything flashback, instant or sorcery wise, there is that opportunity to take multiple turns with those kind of effects of giving yourself an extra turn. Yeah, this is a powerful card. Let's move on to the grades. We will start with you. It is your deck that you built. I am terrified of it still.
I am going to be completely biased. I'm still giving this card an A.
Yeah, you're going to be biased. I will say the thing that scares me the most about this card, though, is the fact that it is 6 mana. And I feel like if we would have removed it more times, maybe we would have been okay. So I'm going to give this a B. But Iroh Grand Lotus is going to get an average grade of an A. Next up, another Iroh. It's Iroh Tea Master. 1 red and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature human citizen ally. It says when Iroh enters, create a food token, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target opponent gain control of target permanent you control. And when you do, you create a 1/1 white ally creature token. Put a +1/+1 counter on that token for each permanent you own that your opponents control. There are a bunch of different ways to build this deck. However, the person that is also building this Iroh, I believe, is you again.
Yeah, it's a weirdo. I don't know. I love the fact that this one is low to the ground and it's rather like It I don't feel like this is a hate generator. I feel like this is one of those weird things of just like, hey, we're gonna be friends and we're gonna have a great time, and at a certain point you're gonna realize that like what we've been trading is like very lopsided.
I mean, like I said, you can build it in many different ways. You can build this in a very group hug. Hey, everybody gets cool stuff. We're doing stuff together. Or you could build it in group slug, where you just give a bunch of stuff like Beamtown Bullies and give them really mean things, and your opponents are sad. And you're getting advantage for that. So,
Yeah. Give
yep,
somebody a card that just says you can't play lands, It's
I can't wait.
painful.
I've been told you're building this deck by you.
What can I say? Maybe I'm a little Iroh biased.
You are Iroh bias. I believe this is your favorite character in all of Avatar. And when this set was announced, you said, I'm building Iroh. And here we are. We've got multiple Irohs, and you're building all of them.
Yep.
Let's move on to the grades. I want to hear your biased opinion on Iroh Tea Master.
I don't think this one has the same kind of like potential as the previous Iroh, but I do think this one is still really cool, and I love how just kind of like open this playstyle is. I'm gonna give this a B.
Yeah, I'm going to go one lower. I'm going to give this one a C, actually. I do see the fun in it. Don't get me wrong. Do I think it's that powerful, though? I don't believe so. Final grade for Iroh Tea Master average is going to be a B. Moving on to Jet Freedom Fighter. It's 2 hybrid red-white for a 3/1 legendary creature human rebel ally that says when Jet enters, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature an opponent controls. When Jet dies, you put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures.
If only that first ability said any target.
Any target? You mean you wanted to deal to an opponent's face?
Yeah, like if I was building like a Boros go wide, this would be awesome. Where it's like, okay, well, I'll drop this and just like hit somebody for 8 that could potentially finish them. But now this is like maybe kind of sometimes, but creature removal, and then its other ability, like it has to die to do anything.
This is just a removal spell, maybe, for 5 mana.
Yeah,
This is not a good card. We can move on to the
yeah,
grades. This is an F.
yeah. This is an F.
Jet Freedom Fighter gets the average grade of an F. And the final card we were talking about in part 1 is a Katara. This is Katara Seeking Revenge. 3 hybrid blue-black for a 3/3 legendary creature human warrior ally. It's got an ability that says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may waterbend 2. And when Katara enters, draw a card. Then discard a card unless her additional cost was paid. Katara gets +1/+1 for each lesson card in your graveyard. We're ending the videos not on the best of cards, if I'm being honest.
This is 6 mana for a 3/3 that draws you a card.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There are more Kataras in this set. However, we've split this video up in 2. So you will be seeing those in part 2. Stay tuned for that. But this one has to do the extra cost to do anything.
Yeah, this one's pretty rough, and like with it being in Demir, that's an odd color for lessons. Like you're very limited. I don't see this.
Me neither, unfortunately. I like waterbending as a mechanic. I don't like waterbending as a mechanic on this card because it's literally a one-time effect of an ETB draw card, discard a card.
Yep.
Or, unless the effect was paid, you just draw 1 card. We say card draw wins games, but not here. I'll move on to the grades. This one, we'll start with you.
I'm giving it an F.
Yeah, me too.
Which sucks because the artwork on this card is really cool.
Once again, artwork stellar in this set, but Katara Seeking Revenge gets the average grade of an F. That's going to do it for us today. If you guys liked that video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, because like I have mentioned, this is only a part 1. You don't want to miss part 2 when we release that, because there are a lot of spicy new cards from Avatar. I like talking about them. Riley likes talking about them. That's what we do here on the channel. We talk about cool commanders. But comment down below, do you agree with these grades? Maybe you disagreed with these grades. Always interested to hear your guys' opinions on this stuff. Sometimes we're wrong, but once again, they are just our opinions, so you could have a different one. In the description, you'll find links to all of our social media accounts. Follow us with those as well to keep up to date with everything else that we got going on. And if you wanted to buy some merch, check the link in the description as well. guysatmagic.com. It's buy yourself a t-shirt. It's the holiday season. Why not? Sweatshirt. It's cold. And on the screen right now, all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It really does mean the world to us. If you guys wanted to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, please check the link in the description below and consider subscribing. And a very special shout out to our Gains Indestructible tier, starting with Daryl Tripp,
Demarion Turner,
Doc Jerome,
Dolo XMJ,
Ghost McGrady,
Jimmy Ward,
Jay Pizzle,
Kelvor,
Kevo,
Samuel Abbott,
and Thrifty PSGR. You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Laters.